Game 3 of the Edmonton Oilers versus the Los Angeles Kings is in the books. What a relief. That was a huge game, and we came through. Welcome to another episode of Frozen Oil Hockey. I'm your host, Rich. And boy, oh boy, what a game that was. The Edmonton Oilers defeat the Los Angeles Kings 6-1. And that, my friends, my fellow Oiler fans, was the game we needed to win. And finally, we did win. So let's get into this. So before we get into any of the stats and stuff like that, I wanted to just touch on Stuart Skinner. What everybody needs to know is Stuart Skinner is our guy. He's the man that needs to come through for this team in the playoffs. It's a lot of pressure, I understand. But like I said in a previous video, he made the big saves when it counted. And that's what's going to get us through to the next round. We can't have these delusions of grandeur that Picard's going to come in and take us all the way. I mean, it could happen, but we can't rely on that. It's not the plan. The plan is to go all the way with Skinner and, have some friends that have mentioned to me, well, what about Campbell? Again, if Campbell was going to get into some playoff games here, he might have got some time towards the end of the season. So at the end of the day, I don't believe that that's the plan, and nor should it be. I mean, this guy had to bounce back today, and he did that. He showed that he can be the number one netminder for the Edmonton Oilers. And as a fan, as most of you watching this game as Oiler fans, you were worried. We tried to hide it a little bit there, but we were simply biting our nails, hoping that we don't have to crawl out of a hole and be down 2-1 in this series. So can't say enough good things about that game for Skinner. The game overall for the Oilers, wow. I mean, they had to win this game. They talked about it. We watched those interviews after game 2. And now, finally, they actually played. And played the way they talked. They looked calm out there. And we got the win. So, I want to start off with that. So let's get into the scoring. Last night, again, the first goal, huge, especially in a road game. Zach Hyman comes through and gets an unbelievable pass from Ekholm. Ekholm anticipated that play. He came in like Thor and just took that puck and made that great pass. Hyman was in behind the defense. Didn't score in his first attempt there, but he tucks it home. Just that, battle in Hyman. It's hard to find that. I'm sure there's a lot of Leaf fans watching this that are kicking themselves, saying, why didn't they sign this guy? He's all heart. He goes into this game already having scored, 4 goals in 2 games. He got the hat trick in the first game. Scores a big goal in the second game to keep them in it. And then scores the opening goal on the road. So momentum is such a huge thing in the playoffs. It's not just about making that simple play all the time. It is definitely about keeping that momentum. It's very important, especially killing the opponent's momentum at certain times. So Zach Hyman scores that opening goal. The Oilers get some momentum. They get some confidence, and then Leon Draisaitl gets an amazing pass for the Oilers' second goal. Unbelievable pass from Kane. He banks it off the bottom of the net, right to Draisaitl, and he roofs it. Before the end of the third period, Oilers get a power play, and Connor McDavid buries one in front of the net. So now we have a 3-0 lead in a road game in Los Angeles. Get into the second period, and of all players, Drew Doughty gets the Kings on the board to make it 3-1. Now, at this point, this game can tilt either way. And what ends up happening is Evander Kane ends up scoring to kill the momentum of the Los Angeles Kings. So this is what I'm talking about with momentum and momentum shifts. The Oilers are up 3-0. Doughty gets a goal. The Kings start buzzing. And just through sheer perseverance and puck battles and battling through boards, through checks, through the boards, and just making sure that you are trying to hold back on this pressure that's coming in from the LA Kings. Cody Ceci takes a shot, goes off of Evander Kane, goes in the net. So to me, again, that goal was a huge deflator for the Kings. And this is what I'm talking about with the momentum. There's been a lot of times in the past where the Oilers were on the wrong side of that momentum. And, it's nice to see that they're finally understanding this, it seems to me. I feel that, from the coaching staff to the leaders on this team, starting first and foremost with Connor McDavid, this team is doing those little things that are necessary to close out playoff games, to stop the momentum of the opposition at the right time when they're pouring it on, to deflate the opposition at certain points in the game, and then to close out games. So that made it 4-1. We go into the third period. There was over 47 penalty minutes for the Kings. A lot of, in my opinion, cheap shots in the third period there. But the main thing you want to get out of when you have a lead like that, especially when Hyman made it with his second goal of the game, made it 5-1. It started to get chippy out there. I mean, I know my phone was getting lit up during that time. People questioning a lot of those, you want to say dirty plays maybe, I don't know, but got really chippy out there in the third. The Oilers took full advantage of that. Hyman scored the power play goal. And then the final goal, again on the power play from Leon Draisaitl. So final score was 6-1. I felt, Darnell Nurse played a solid game. It's nice to see that. And it's about time. He's due. I mean, Darnell Nurse is a top draft pick of the Oilers. And, this is what's expected of him. This is why he's getting paid what he's getting paid. And honestly, after that Carolina game where he took that puck to the face, he's been playing, I want to say, way, way, way closer to what he's getting paid than he was in the past. And you could just see like his demeanor out there and his intensity, like especially the last maybe 15 games of the season. Like, I'm watching this guy and you can just see him, whether he's on the ice or on the bench, he's just calm, he's cool, he's collected, super focused. And really, as a top 2 D-man, or the top D-man on the second defensive pairing, you can't ask for more than that. I mean, you have Ekholm and Bouchard holding it down on that top line, defensive pairing. To have Nurse, who's more than capable and was expected to be as a top pairing defenseman, to have him on your second pairing is, you can't measure that value. So it really disperses evenly the defensive structure of the Oilers. And as a fan, you want to see that. Again, I mentioned it before. Our offense is stellar, to put it lightly. But once we started playing that defensive structure, especially during that 16-game win streak during the season, we started to realize a few things. And it's like, it's not just scoring all these goals. It's skating back. It's making those proper plays in the defensive end. Maybe not trying to make that fancy pass in your own zone and just getting it out over the blue line, or making a quick tap pass to a teammate and skating that puck out. So the defensive structure of the team, the mentality of, there's been a few games where we locked games down defensively, and when you have the power of this offense, that's a formula to win. So that's why they went on a 16-game streak. I mean, we've always been able to score. I mean, we have Connor McDavid. He's the best player in the world. Not one of. He's the best player in the world. You cannot genetically design a better hockey player than this guy. And scoring is not our problem. It's never been a problem. When you're in a playoff game, tight checking game, a lot of these games you can check, a lot of previous scores from last night and previous series from years before. They're typically lower scoring games. And when you have a guy like McDavid on your team that can score you a goal at any time when he's on the ice, you have a good chance of winning games when your defensive structure is sound. So I was super happy about the defensive structure of the Oilers yesterday. Super happy about Skinner's play. I mean, the pressure was huge and he came through, so can't talk enough about that. So let's just take a quick second here to talk about Evander Kane dealing with a sports hernia. And he got some flack from the media regarding him coming out and mentioning that injury prior to the start of a playoff series. And he basically got roasted by some of the media here in Edmonton for disclosing that. And then it went into this whole thing about he causes too much drama, and everywhere he goes he causes too much drama. And it's like, was it that much drama? Maybe he slipped and he mentioned that. I'm not too sure. But he sure doesn't look like he's playing with a sports hernia that's, at a point of making it an advantage for the other team when you're on the ice. And he was pretty upset about some of the comments that were made towards him. And I was also a little bit, as a fan, a little bit upset about that. And what does he do? He goes and gets a Gordie Howe hat trick in a playoff game. Again, this guy's under a lot of pressure too. So in my mind, he was a warrior. Last night, he scored a crucial goal to make it 4-1. Again, we talked about the momentum earlier. And prior to that goal that he scored, the lone back checker, in my opinion, on the Doughty goal, that maybe he should have been in a better position to kind of stop that goal from happening. So instead of, getting mad at himself and going on the bench and disappearing, for the rest of the game, he owned it. He came out. He scored that goal. He created a unbelievable play with Draisaitl on his goal, banking that puck off the net, getting the assist. And then he gets leveled and completely goes after England and fights him to complete the Gordie Howe hat trick. So when you look at the sequence of events that occurred after he gets kind of reamed out in the media, good on him. And at this point right now, we can't be looking at the past. We got to be looking forward. This guy's been a proven success on this team in the playoffs. And these are the kind of games that role players like Evander Kane need to have for the Oilers to have success in the playoffs. It can't just be Draisaitl and McDavid scoring every single goal and scoring every single play on every single play. We need guys like Kane. We need guys like Hyman. We need, defense to chip in here and there. And from what I see, I really liked it. I just wanted to touch on that hit on Kane. I don't know if you guys noticed, but did you see Holloway there? Give him a little shot after. I was pretty happy with that. I mean, this guy's 20 years old, and he's a kid, and he's going in there, and he's standing up to a much bigger opponent in England, and giving him a little shot, sticking up for Kane. And I just felt that this game, as far as the team, not camaraderie, but the bonding of this team, as strong as it was prior to coming into this game, it went up significantly. So you gotta be happy about the results of yesterday's game as an Oiler fan. I know I'm happy, and as a hockey fan in general, just watching that power play is something else. I mean, they're really making teams pay. 42.9% on the power play. They were 3 for 7. So, I mean, you're getting close to 50% on the power play. And a lot of the times, especially on 97, we're not getting the calls that we should be. I mean, McDavid, in my opinion, draws minimum of 2 or 3 penalties per game that are not called on him, because he's just too good and he's just too fast, and it would be just too much of an advantage for the Oilers. So that does it for another episode. Thanks for watching. Really appreciate it. Make sure to like and subscribe to Frozen Oil Hockey, and we'll see you on the next one.